What's going on, you guys? I'm doing the January review. Better late than never, but we're gonna get on that right now. I'm gonna try to not take too much time with it. Um, I just been busy with a lot of shit. Admittedly, I've been lacking some discipline just in my overall life, and just been dealing with some other things that has been going on with my life as a result of some bad discipline, just dealing with health issues and a bunch of things, and just dealing with trading issues too. February's been pretty rough month for me, but so January was a record month for me. It ended up being 11.5, roughly, 11.5K in Canadian dollars, so another five-figure month. That's the amount in US dollars. I know that amount is wrong though, because when you show trades in TraderView from 1 month, it won't show trades that you initiated in a month before. So I was taking more losses. So, well, actually no, that actually is relatively accurate. Yeah. So yeah, 9 grand US. So hey guys, one thing I forgot to mention is the borrow fees on the month, and the borrow fees on the month ended up being 118 in Canadian. So my net profits after the borrow fees was about 11,400, and that was due to just holding stubborn shorts in the energy sector, FCell and PECK, which ended up becoming iSun. And just don't be stubborn with shorts, because you will be paying borrow fees, and if you're going to be stubborn with small size. Very close to five figures in US as well. It was a good month, but it could have been a lot better. And the reason that I say it could have been a lot better is because I was just not sizing in the way I should have. I was not playing opportunities. I was just meeting bare minimums. By bare minimums, I mean my 2K a week minimum. And I just got so focused on just that minimum to make six figures on the year that I've just lost sight of opportunities, and I just completely missed how hot the market was. And I'm afraid that going forward, because I did not capitalize properly on opportunities that I should have, this should have been like this. If I had capitalized properly, this could have probably been a 15-20K month. And I know I'm going to regret it when the market cools down and I start taking losses. Like, it's currently the last week of February. I'm getting pretty hammered right now. I'm not going to lie. And it's moments like these where it's like, wow, I wish I really capitalized properly. I'm thankful for the amount of money I made, but it was just like, this market is so hot, and just I see people making so much money. I'm like, what are you really doing? I ended up having a couple red days, and I managed to keep those red days low. So something I wanted to highlight is that the way I'm able to bounce back now from big losses compared to last year, it just goes to show like my improvement as a trader. Like what happened on Monday, on that day. So this ended up being this red day. This isn't right. It shouldn't be red 29. It should be like 60, 70. So I think I lost like 100 to 200 Canadian on the day here. I had started off the morning with an $1,800 loss. Okay? I had Mara just completely wrecking me. And what ended up happening with Mara is that the week before, I was kind of struggling with it. I was taking a put a few days before the Monday, I think on the Thursday, thinking that we were going to get some more downside. It gapped up, and I only had 2 contracts. So I held, and now we see it's in February. It's like, oh shit, this thing dumped. But anyways, I held till the Monday, and then luckily we got the gap down on Monday, and I had covered it right into the open, even though it did dump further. Pretty much for Mara, I had taken that position, then I had taken another position, more puts from I think the day after that. So I taken these on the 8th, and then I taken these on the 7th. So on the gap up day, I took more puts. So these puts ended up being profitable, and these puts ended up taking a loss. But the only reason they ended up being a loss is because I sold right away, pretty much right away on the open, a minute in, and there was more downside. And then I ended up taking this huge loss right here. And this was my biggest mistake. I tried to hedge my risk with the puts because I had those 4 puts total, and there were 2 at different price points. And what had happened was on the Friday leading into the Monday, when it was holding so well, I took calls to try to hedge my risk, and I took 4 calls, so I had 4 puts. And then when it gapped down, I got completely destroyed because they lost so much of their value. So had I not hedged my risk with those calls and just left it with the puts, I would have been net green with the puts because I made 448 and then I lost 150. So I'd have netted 300 US, so like 400 Canadian on the day. But anyways, I had to accept my decisions. I cut all my Mara into the gap down on open. So I was sitting, in terms of Canadian losses, I think I was down like 1,600. And then I just bounced back hard. I went and took QQQ dip, nailed the dip right there. And then whatever opportunity was presenting itself, I was capitalizing on. SIGL, that was a nice stock in play. I could have made a lot more money on that. I was just playing a little bit nervous, and it was just, I think it was like low liquidity. It was kind of big range, so it's kind of easy to lose money on if it went against you. But yeah, I was just killing plays, and I was like, reached a point on the day where I was like down less than 100, and then I tried to take another dip buy on QQQ later, and it just did not work out. But from a $1,500 loss in the morning to around 200 right on the day, and then you compare that to like the year before, where it's like I get a red day and it's so hard to bounce back. It's like, just look at January 2020 overall, like all those red days. It's insane. When you really keep at it, the progress will show itself. Like this was January to May was just brutal. And it wasn't until July when I started to really find my grounding. That was probably one of my favorite days of January of this year, because of the way I was able to recover from that loss and kind of keep my head in the right mental space. Because when you end up with a loss like that, it could be hard to maintain your headspace and where you're able to trade properly and not just trade to make back losses. Instead, just trade intelligently, make back the losses intelligently. And before, what happened, I would just take emotional trades, like the worst, dumbest trades ever, to try to make it back. Like trades you look back on, you're like, wow, what was I thinking? But I managed to take the smart trades, and that's why I was able to bounce back from that hole. And I had that little 2 red day period too. So 11 grand, given that I had that 2 red day period, and the month ended up being 19 trading days. So in those 19 trading days, 11.5 grand, I managed to hit 605 a day on average. And that was with 2 red days, 605 a day. And my minimum is 400 a day. So very happy with being above the minimum. And then let's just go through the worst trades. So the worst trades were the Mara put, and then I had the GME put. So pretty much what happened was, before GME went crazy, the week before it went crazy, I saw in 60s. So I was taking puts on the Friday. And I'm like, and then I took another put as I was going back down to VWAP. I'm like, this thing's going to fade off by next week. Then I had discovered Wall Street Bets over the weekend and realized exactly what the fuck was about to happen. So the next week, I had to cut it. It gapped up. I had to cut it. And notice how, even though I cut it on the January the 22nd, that actually didn't even end up being a red day for me on the 25th, sorry. The 25th was when I cut it and took the loss, but I ended up having the best day of my career on that day. And the reason was because I saw where the bias was. I saw that GME, there was a lot of long potential. So I started buying calls and scalping on the way up. And I could have honestly played this a lot better looking at the big picture. I was like scalping in and out with calls. I could have just rode this all the way and just really banked. Nonetheless, I was able to make back everything I lost in the put because GME was just so damn strong. So that and the Mara put from the Bitcoin hype and then the GameStop hype, those ended up being my worst losses. Everything else was very manageable. 169, 100s, very happy with how I handled those. And then my best plays, the QQQ dip on the same day that I had to cut Mara for a loss. And then incidentally, my Mara puts. So my original plan when I saw how extended it was taking the puts. By trying to hedge, I don't have much experience with hedging, but I tried to hedge with the calls and I got completely destroyed for it. And then a lot of GameStop. GameStop rewarded me. I really played the strength that week. Most of my best trades were GameStop. Then you have a little bit of QQQ. I wasn't playing QQQ dips as much as I was in December, like every damn day, because I kind of was going back into penny stocks, crazy runners like GME. Like we had some nice runners that month. Like the last week, January alone, was the craziest action I've ever seen in my career. Like I made 5K alone in the last month. That's when I realized, like, wow, I'm not capitalizing on these opportunities the way that I should be. It's time to go hard or go home. And then, boom, like the first 3 weeks of January, I was making, I think, between 2,200 to 2,500 a week. And then that's what happens when you actually take advantage of the market. And a lot of Wall Street bets names are here as well. AMC. And then SIGL was that one I showed you where I dip bought it on that day. That one offered so much follow through plays because there was so many dips, and I pretty much capitalized it all the way where you had all this volatility continuing, where I had like $5 range each day, and I just like, if it's going to keep presenting opportunities, I'm going to keep taking opportunities. And that's exactly what I did. Lots of my SIGL trades were dip buys, buying off support. So what I mean by buying off support, okay, that one was the main day, the January 11th. And the follow through days, buying off support, just seeing it dump, seeing it go all the way down here, and then we got a nice reversal, and then just playing that reversal. So still sticking to my dip buys, my bread and butter plays. And that's the January review for you. I'm just trying to make this brief, solid month. Good that it's my best month and that there's improvement. But obviously, with how hot the market is, it could be a lot better. I'm not gonna lie, I've been comparing myself a lot to just seeing other traders just going crazy, like 30, 40, like hundreds of thousands a month. It makes me like go like, damn, man, I need to get better. Nonetheless, I'm not even 2 years into this, so still got a lot to learn, and I'm realizing that every day. Let me know how your January went in the comments. Again, I apologize for the delay, and I will try to get the February one out in like the first week of February to make up for that. So take care. Happy trading. Be back soon.
It's gotten into me. Club lights hitting me. Fucking right energy. Sitting with the sedatives. Mobbing with my relatives. Feeling like I'm heaven sent. Sipping with the devil drink.